Hello and welcome to Board Game Gumbo. Today we're unboxing Merchants of Magick by Rock Manor Games. This is a game for 1 to 8 players that plays in about 45 minutes. So you may be familiar with Set a Watch, which is a game also from Rock Manor Games. This game is in the same universe as those games, but is very different. For one, this is a competitive game where Set a Watch is a cooperative game. But also this one is sort of you playing as merchants in this world, hence the name Merchants of Magick. And you're going to be creating the items that the adventurers from Set a Watch are going to take out on their expeditions. So here's our rule book. Pretty short rule book. Again, the game is kind of self-explanatory. It's a dice allocation sort of economy-driven game where you'll be filling different orders for points. And then on the back here, we've got a nice little explanation of sort of the round structure, how the game ends, and then how the solo variant works. So each player is going to get one of these sheets at the start of a game. And as you can see, there are quite a few of them. And they are double-sided as well. So you have quite a few plays of this game available to you before you run out. You can see the different types of dice that are in the game. So there are 4 different dice, D6, D8, D10, and D12. And then down here, you see the different items you can make, as well as over here, different enchantments. We've got charms down at the bottom, accessories, weapons, and armor. And then we've got some extra stuff down here. So whenever you're making something, let's say I want to make a backpack, it tells you what die you need to make it, as well as what value right here. So we see here, I have to have a 3 or higher. And if we look up on the column here, it tells us that I can use the D6, the D8, or the D10. So I can't use the D12. But if any of these 3 dice rolled that value or higher, which is pretty likely, I can use any one of them to make this backpack. And I would just mark off the backpack. It works the same way if you see something with like 3. So here, the grimoire, you have to have a 5 or higher. It has to be red. You have to have a 4 or higher that can be red or purple, and a 4 or higher that can be red, purple, or yellow. So D6, D8, or D10. And you can do these in separate rounds. So I could use, if I roll a 5 on the D6, I can mark off this 5. And then on the next round, if I roll a 4 on the D6, I can mark off the 4. So you can do these in different steps. You also have something like here, the plate armor. You have to have an 8 or higher on a D6, which is clearly not possible within the normal rules of dice rolling. But you will get, during the course of the game, potions, and you can use potions to essentially add to dice rolls. Now, because it's a dice rolling game, there's a little bit of concern about luck and all that, but you're all using the same dice. So every player is using the roll that the starting player or whoever decides, whoever chooses the roll for that round ends up rolling. So even though there's a little bit of luck there, everybody's getting the same luck, right? So you're not missing out. And then you have over here enchantments, and these are important because sometimes like a particular contract will ask for a ring of everlasting, right? So you have to be able to make a ring, and you have to be able to make the everlasting enchantment to be able to fulfill that order. So let's look at what else we got here. So first of all, we got some pencils, little golf pencils. Probably want to get rid of those pretty quick. We have potions here. So again, potions are something that let you manipulate dice. They're nice little wooden pieces. They have different colors on them. The colors don't really mean anything. If you wanted to, you could play it like, reds are 1 and purples are 5s or whatever, if you run out of potions. But otherwise, the colors don't affect anything. A potion is a potion regardless of what color it is. We've got our dice here, which are pretty nice. I mean, they are essentially the same type of dice that you get in Set a Watch. So they're little slightly marble effect dice on them. They're well inked, no complaints about the dice. And then sort of aside from the character sheet that everybody gets, or the market sheet or whatever you want to call it are the cards, which is a big part of the game. So throughout the course of the game, you'll be trying to fulfill these different contracts. So these are things that adventurers want. And to make them, you're going to be making them on your sheet first. So again, backpack of the elves. First, you have to build a backpack. Then you have to build the of the elves enchantment. And then you can fulfill this requirement, which gives you 2 gold, and then so on and so forth. So everlasting backpack of the dragons, you have to have the backpack, you have to have the everlasting, and you have to have of the dragons. And if you have all that, you get 6 coins. So these are all pretty straightforward in terms of how you complete them, right? You're gonna need 1, 2, or 3 different things built on your scoring sheet. They have a varying value to them. Essentially, the more difficult something is to build, the more value. When we get to like the plate armor here at some point, plate armor is really hard to make. So it's going to score you a bunch of points. Like plate armor of the dragons itself is 5 points. If you get everlasting plate armor of the dragon, it's 7 points. So these are sort of the basic contracts that the game wants you to fulfill. And the way that these work is you're going to shuffle them up. And I think you deal 3 to each player, right? So say these are my 3, and I got all the plate armors because, of course, I didn't shuffle them. But then the player to the right of me has 3, and the player to the left of me has 3, and so on. Well, as you play, if I don't fulfill these on my turn, they're still here, they're going to rotate around the table. So you can kind of plan ahead. If you're playing over here, you know that you're going to get access to these cards in 2 rounds unless somebody fulfills that requirement. So there's a reason to essentially track what your opponents are doing. It's not a solo style game where you're just fulfilling contracts in front of you the entire game and then drawing new ones. We also have these, which are essentially achievements, and you get these by being the first person to a certain thing. So you are the master blacksmith. When you mark 4 circles in the steel material column, you're the master woodsman when you mark 5 circles in the wood material column, so on and so forth. You're the master magician when you mark 5 circles in the arcane energy column. And all of these are obviously worth points. And that's where you track on the very bottom of the sheet are all these basically like titles that you can accumulate. Final thing is each player is going to get sort of a patron adventurer. And this is kind of cool because these are all the adventurers from Set a Watch, right? So here's the witch from Set a Watch, the bounty hunter, all these different characters that if you've played Set a Watch, you're kind of familiar with, and they each want 3 things. And if you complete those 3 things, you get certain advantages. And so these are the little spots up here, kind of right above the bottom of your sheet. These are your sponsored adventurers. So you're going to get dealt 1 randomly. So let's say I have the ranger. The ranger wants 3 things. He wants the pendant of the elves. So I have to create the pendant, and I have to create the of the elves enchantment, which is handy because he wants 3 things of the elves, so I only need 1 enchantment. So I need to create a pendant, a staff, and a plate armor, and I need to have the of the elves enchantment. When I finish the first one, doesn't matter which order I do them in, I could do the plate armor first. I'm going to gain 3 potions. Again, potions is how you manipulate dice, so they're very helpful. When I do the second one, I get to mark any circle on my sheet just for free. And when I do the third one, I'm going to get to mark any circle I want on my sheet, as well as that's when you'll get the gold value from your sponsored adventurer. So that is everything you get in a game of Merchants of Magick from Rock Manor Games. The game plays over a total of 10 rounds, and then the player with the most money at the end of the game, you are merchants after all, so we're after money here, that's going to be your winner. So thank you for watching our unboxing of Merchants of Magick.